We've been hearing a lot lately about how to stay safe on social media after the arrest of a local substitute teacher and volleyball coach who's now facing dozens of charges related to sexual violence. Police believe 32-year-old Marcus Hicks used fake social media accounts to lure children and adults and arrange sexual acts. He now faces more than 60 charges. Police believe Hicks used 6 different online profiles. One of them has existed almost 20 years. At a news conference yesterday, they brought in my next guest, a child psychologist, to offer advice to anyone affected by this. Dr. Janine Hubbard joins me now.
Thanks for having me.
Dr. Hubbard, this story is disturbing on so many levels, and parents and guardians may have a difficult time trying to talk about this with their children, but police do believe that there could be more victims out there. So what advice would you give to parents and guardians on how to broach this topic with their children?
I think it's an incredibly important topic to broach, both in terms of the specifics, but also perhaps to use it as a good excuse to have a reminder or remedial discussion around being safe on social media. We have realized that, again, this is something that has affected the entire community. All of us are feeling a reaction to it in some way, whether it's potentially seeing names and thinking, oh my goodness, I think I interacted with that individual at some point in time. It might not have gone very far, but oh, what if? And being worried about our young people, being worried about the potential for our younger children to be caught up in something similar at some point in the future. So it does, as a community, it has felt like a betrayal and a loss of trust. I always recommend having conversations around social media where you set up parameters that say, you are not going to get in trouble. I'm not taking away your phone. I'm not taking away any privileges. My first and foremost concern is for your safety. And both now and in the future, if there's ever something where you are concerned about something that has happened on social media, no questions asked, you bring it to me. This is not something where there's punishment involved.
Safe zone.
Safe zone, very much like for a lot of people, they have that conversation around driving. If you're ever unsafe to drive or you feel that your ride is unsafe to drive, no questions asked, no punishment, you call, I'll get you home safely. It's that same kind of messaging for social media, because the reality is there's no instruction manual, and it's being used by young adults and children right at a time where, their judgment and their decision-making skills aren't fully developed, and we fully expect they're going to make some mistakes. Listen, as adults, we make mistakes on it and don't think through or don't understand a tone, or so how can we expect, our young adults or our kids to do that?
What are some signals or warning signs that parents or guardians should keep an eye out for if they're concerned that their child might have been affected in some way by this case?
Sure. You always want to look for changes in behavior, whether it's changes in sleep, whether it's somatic issues like a bad belly or a headache, or a change in social or extracurricular activities. I mean, some of those changes just happen naturally and developmentally, and that's appropriate. But sometimes it's really worth following up on the why is that being avoided.
And it's never easy for a victim to come forward, especially when sexual violence is involved. What would you say to a victim who may be thinking about coming forward, but they're afraid and they're just not sure that coming forward is worth it?
Sure. I think it's important to remember that it doesn't have to go to a full-fledged police report, that the main reason we're reaching out at the moment is to make sure that you are safe and that they are getting the supports that are needed, because we know that if you're suffering in silence, there's far greater risk also of things like increased substance use, anything that can be done to numb. So whether that's drugs and alcohol, whether that's risky activities, we really don't want people being put at more harm. So whether that's reaching out to a close friend, whether that's reaching out to a parent, whether it's reaching out to a trusted adult, That doesn't mean that you immediately are going to be marched down to the police station. In fact, there are a number of programs available where there's third-party reporting that can be done. There are ways that can help the police with their case, but first and foremost, the concern is making sure you are getting the support that is needed to help you process what is often a very confusing, very guilt-ridden situation, and you need the time and space to work with a professional to work through some of those feelings and actions and reactions.
As more and more comes out about this case, it's more and more evident that these victims aren't alone. Right?
No, they're not alone, and I know there can often be a lot of self-blame. It's the, well, I made those choices, I initiated, I went to someone's house. You're not to blame. This is a situation where your trust was violated, and that means, yes, you may question some of your choices or your decisions, but you are not to blame for them. And helping to understand that, and helping to understand that you're not alone, and that there are people who understand and get it and can really help you with all of those conflicted feelings.
Well, some great advice there, Dr. Janine Hubbard. Thank you so much.
Thanks for your coverage of this really challenging topic.